Sigma males don't follow the crowd, they forge their own path. They don't seek validation, they validate themselves. They don't play by society's rules, they create their own. Welcome to Sigma Male Community, a channel like no other in this niche. If you're here, you're not looking for fluff or feel-good cliches. You're here for raw, unfiltered truth. And that's exactly what you'll get. Today we're diving deep into the mindset of the Sigma male, men who live by their own code, men who refuse to be tamed by a world obsessed with conformity. This isn't just another video. This is a manifesto for the lone wolves, the quiet conquerors, the men who don't need applause to know their worth. Buckle up because we're about to strip away the lies and expose the unfiltered truth about Sigma men. 1. They don't need your validation and never will. Sigma men aren't rebels without a cause, they're architects of their own reality. While the world chases likes, trends, and applause, Sigmas operate in a zone of quiet sovereignty. Picture a wolf that doesn't howl for the pack's approval. It hunts alone because it knows its strength. This isn't arrogance, it's liberation. Sigmas don't waste energy performing for crowds or molding themselves to fit trends. They'd rather walk a deserted road than dance to someone else's rhythm. Their confidence isn't loud, it's a silent earthquake that destabilizes fragile egos. While others scramble for external approval, Sigmas build empires in the shadows. Their currency? Self-respect. Their motto? If you don't get it, you weren't meant to. Ask yourself, how much of your life is performance? For Sigmas, every breath is authenticity. They don't need applause, they've already won the game by refusing to play. This is self-mastery in action. A man who knows his worth doesn't beg for it to be recognized. He stands tall not because he's loud but because he's whole. Sigmas have an internal compass that guides them, forged through years of self-reflection and experience. They've learned that seeking external validation is a trap. It's fleeting, unreliable, and often comes with strings attached. Instead, they focus on their own standards, their own goals, and their own definition of success. This self-reliance isn't born out of disdain for others but from a deep understanding that true fulfillment comes from within. They're not immune to doubt or criticism, but they've mastered the art of filtering feedback through their own lens, taking what serves them and discarding the rest. This mindset allows them to move through life with a quiet confidence that others can't shake. Imagine a man who wakes up every day not wondering what others think of him, but asking himself, am I living true to my purpose? That's the Sigma way. They don't bend under societal pressure because they've built their foundation on something stronger, an unshakable belief in their own path. They've walked through fire, failure, rejection, isolation, and come out the other side not hardened but refined. Validation from others is just noise, their silence is their strength. 2. Human lie detector. Why fake people flee. Sigmas dissect your lies before you finish your sentence. They're human lie detectors by necessity. Crocodile tears don't move them and rehearsed charm falls flat. They see through the masks because they've spent years sharpening their perception. Fake people don't just annoy them, they flee from them, unable to withstand the piercing gaze of authenticity. Sigmas aren't here to play along with your script. They'll call it out, silently or otherwise, and move on. This isn't a game of superiority, it's a commitment to truth. While others nod and smile at deception, Sigmas stand as sentinels of reality. Ever wonder why some people avoid them? It's because Sigmas expose what's hollow without even trying. They've honed this skill through relentless observation and a refusal to accept surface-level interactions. They notice the micro-expressions, the twitch of a lip, the averted glance, that betray dishonesty. They catch the inconsistencies in your story, the subtle shifts in tone that reveal your game. This isn't paranoia, it's a survival mechanism in a world where authenticity is a rare commodity. Sigmas don't waste time on people who hide behind facades because they know that every moment spent on pretense is a moment stolen from something real. They've been burned before, by friends who turned out to be opportunists, by promises that crumbled under scrutiny, and each lesson has sharpened their radar. Fake people sense this and scatter, knowing they can't manipulate a man who sees through them. Sigmas don't judge for sport, they discern for peace. They'd rather walk alone than wade through a swamp of insincerity. Picture a man who can sit in a room full of chatter and hear only the truth. That's the Sigma edge. 3. Warriors of peace. Why drama dies in their presence. Sigmas don't just avoid drama, they annihilate it. Step into their orbit, and petty conflicts dissolve like mist in sunlight. They're not pacifists by weakness but warriors of peace by choice. Drama thrives on emotional chaos, and Sigmas refuse to feed it. They don't yell, they don't escalate, they disarm with a calm that's more powerful than any outburst. Ever seen someone try to provoke a Sigma and fail miserably? That's because they don't take the bait. They've got better things to do than wrestle with nonsense. This isn't detachment, it's discipline. Sigmas know that peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the mastery of it. They approach every situation with a question: does this deserve my energy? Most drama doesn't make the cut. They see through the smoke and mirrors of ego-driven arguments and petty power plays, cutting straight to the core. When tensions rise, they don't react. They respond with a clarity that diffuses even the most volatile moments. This composure isn't an accident. It's cultivated through years of wrestling their own impulses and learning to prioritize what matters. They're not afraid to fight, but they know that most battles are won by refusing to engage. Imagine a storm raging around a mountain. It howls, it thrashes, but the mountain stands unmoved. That's a Sigma in the face of chaos. They channel their strength into building, not tearing down. Others might see their silence as indifference, but it's a calculated choice to preserve their inner tranquility. In a world addicted to noise, Sigmas are the quiet conquerors. For loyalty or nothing, the unforgiving code. For Sigmas, loyalty isn't optional, it's everything. Betray them and you're not just out of their circle, you're out of their universe. They don't deal in second chances for those who cross the line because loyalty is their bedrock. They're not naive, they've seen enough to know trust is fragile, but when they commit, it's ironclad. Sigmas don't demand blind allegiance, they expect mutual honor. Cross them and you'll feel the weight of their absence more than their anger. This isn't vengeance, it's principle. While others forgive for convenience, Sigmas cut ties for clarity. Loyalty is their law and they enforce it without apology. To a Sigma, loyalty means showing up when it counts, keeping your word when it's hard, and standing firm when the world shifts. They don't throw the word around lightly, it's a pact, a bond forged in fire. They'll ride or die for those who've proven themselves, offering a depth of devotion that's rare in a disposable age. But they're not fools. They've seen the masks slip, the promises break, and they've learned that not everyone deserves a seat at their table. When someone violates that trust, Sigmas don't rage or retaliate, they simply remove them like a surgeon excising a tumor. This unforgiving stance isn't about pride, it's about self-respect and protecting what they've built. They know that a single crack in loyalty can fracture everything, so they guard it fiercely. Picture a man who'd rather have one true ally than 100 fair-weather friends. That's the Sigma code. 5. Toxicity detector, the art of energy hygiene. Sigmas can smell toxicity a mile away. Energy vampires, manipulators, complainers, they clock them instantly. They don't entertain leeches who drain their spirit or pollute their space. It's not arrogance, it's energy hygiene. They've got a sixth sense for spotting soul suckers and a zero-tolerance policy for letting them linger. Sigmas guard their mental real estate like it's sacred ground because it is. They don't argue with negativity, they exile it. Ever notice how some people just vanish from their lives? That's not coincidence, it's curation. Sigmas know their peace is non-negotiable and they'll cut you out to keep it. This skill isn't innate, it's earned through trial and error, through years of navigating relationships that left them depleted. They've learned to recognize the red flags, the guilt trips, the backhanded compliments, the endless whining that demands attention but offers nothing in return. Sigmas don't play therapist or punching bag, they'd rather invest in people who elevate them. They see energy as a currency, and they're not about to squander it on dead-end interactions. Setting boundaries isn't a suggestion, it's a lifestyle. They'll say no with a calm that stings more than a shout, or they'll simply walk away, leaving the toxic scrambling for an audience. This isn't about being cold, it's about being deliberate. They know that letting negativity fester is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Sigmas choose clarity over chaos every time. 6. Crowd repellent, why parties bore them to death. Sigmas don't vibe with crowds, they're allergic to the shallow buzz of forced small talk. Parties feel like a circus of egos and they'd rather be anywhere else. They're not there for the selfies, the clout, or the meaningless chatter about nothing. Crowds drain them because Sigmas crave depth, not noise. They're not antisocial, they're anti-superficial. Give them a quiet night with a book or a real conversation over a room full of strangers any day. Ever wonder why they slip out early? It's not you, it's the game they refuse to play. Sigmas don't need a stage, they need substance. They've tried the party scene, danced the dance, sipped the drinks, but it always left them hollow. The louder the room, the emptier it feels. They see through the posturing, the fake laughs, the desperate grabs for attention, and it bores them to their core. Sigmas would rather sit with one person who gets it, Someone who can dive into the big questions, the raw truths, then clap for a dozen clowns. They value their time too much to waste it on surface-level nonsense. It's not about being better than anyone, it's about being true to themselves. Picture a man who walks past the flashing lights and roaring voices, not out of disdain, but because he's chasing something deeper. That's a Sigma, unfazed by the glitter, grounded in the real. 7. Mystery by design. Why they wear invisible armor. Sigmas don't spill their souls to just anyone, they're a puzzle wrapped in steel. They reveal what they want when they want and not a second sooner. This isn't aloofness, it's strategy. Mystery is their shield, filtering out the shallow and drawing in the worthy. They don't need you to understand them because they understand themselves. Ever try to pin one down? Good luck, they slip through labels like smoke. Sigmas wear this invisible armor not to hide, but to protect what's real. In a world that overshares, their silence is their power. They've learned that vulnerability is a gift, not a public broadcast. Every piece of themselves they share is deliberate, earned through trust that's been tested and proven. This doesn't mean they're closed off, it means they're selective. They've seen how people twist openness into ammunition, and they're not about to let that happen. Mystery keeps the manipulators at bay and invites the curious to step closer. Sigmas don't fear being misunderstood, they relish it, knowing it weeds out those too lazy to dig deeper. Imagine a man who stands in a crowd but feels a world apart, not because he's lost but because he's found something others haven't. That's the Sigma Enigma, a fortress of self-awareness. 8. Authenticity over assimilation, the anti-trend manifesto. Sigmas don't follow trends, they mock them. While the herd scrambles to fit in, Sigmas carve their own lane. They don't care what's hot or who's watching because their compass points inward. Trends are chains to them, shackling people to fleeting hype. Sigmas live raw, unscripted, and unapologetic. Authenticity is their rebellion. They'd rather be the odd man out than a carbon copy. Ever see someone ditch the crowd to do their own thing? That's a Sigma laughing at the game while winning at life. Conformity? They buried it years ago. They've watched friends chase fads, new clothes, new slang, new causes, only to end up lost in the shuffle. Sigmas reject that noise, building lives that reflect their core, not the culture's whims. They don't need a logo to feel valid or a hashtag to feel seen. Authenticity isn't just a preference, it's their lifeline, a refusal to let the world dictate their worth. They'll wear what they want, say what they mean, and live how they choose even if it raises eyebrows. This isn't defiance for its own sake, it's freedom. Picture a man who stands firm while the tide of trends crashes around him, unshaken because he knows who he is. That's the Sigma Manifesto. 9. Friendship minimalists. Quality is their currency. Sigmas don't collect friends, they curate them. Their circle is small, tight, and built on quality, not quantity. They don't need a posse to feel secure. They need people who get it, loyal, real, and deep. Superficial buddies? Sigmas invest in connections that matter, not placeholders for their ego. They're not rude, they're selective, and they're damn good at it. Ever notice how their friends are ride or die? That's no accident. Sigmas know that a few true allies beat a crowd of fakes every time. They look for substance, people who can hold a conversation that cuts through the fluff, who show up when the chips are down. Sigmas don't waste time on those who flake or play games. They'd rather nurture a handful of bonds that stand the test of time. They're not here to impress or entertain, they're here to connect on a level most never reach. This minimalism isn't about isolation, it's about intention. They've ditched the dead weight and doubled down on the gold. Imagine a man whose friends aren't just names on a list, but pillars in his life, few, but unbreakable. That's the Sigma standard. 10. Trust is earned, not given, the 1,000-mile stare. Sigmas don't trust easily, good luck getting past their 1,000-mile stare. They watch, they wait, they weigh your every move. Trust isn't a gift, it's a verdict delivered after you've proven your worth. They've seen too many masks fall to hand it out freely. Sigmas don't paranoid, they're precise, reading you like a book before you turn the page. Cross them once and that stare turns cold, trust shattered isn't rebuilt. This isn't mistrust, it's wisdom. While others leap blind, Sigma step sure. They've been let down before, by smooth talkers, by empty vows, and each betrayal has taught them to measure twice, cut once. They don't grill you with questions, they observe how you act when you think no one's watching. Consistency is their litmus test. Words mean nothing if your deeds don't match. Sigmas know that trust is the foundation of everything worth having, so they guard it like a fortress. They're not cold, they're careful, ensuring their loyalty isn't wasted on the unworthy. Picture a man who sees through your soul not to judge, but to protect his own. That's the Sigma gaze, piercing and unshakable. 11. Complexity as a shield. Why you can't label them. Sigmas defy your boxes, they're too complex to pin down. Introverted yet bold, solitary yet connected, they're a walking paradox. Labels slide off them because they don't fit your script. They're not rebels or loners or leaders, they're all of it and none of it. This complexity isn't chaos, it's their strength. Ever try to figure one out and give up? That's the point. Sigmas don't simplify themselves for your comfort, they thrive in the gray. In a world of black and white, they're the shadow you can't catch. They've embraced their layers, logic tangled with instinct, silence laced with power, and they wield it like armor. This isn't about confusion, it's about freedom from being defined by someone else's terms. They've seen how labels limit, how they trap people into roles they never chose. Sigmas reject that cage, choosing a life that's fluid, unpredictable, and wholly their own. They don't owe you an explanation for who they are. Imagine a man who can be a storm one moment and a calm sea the next, not because he's lost, but because he's mastered himself. That's the Sigma shield, complexity that keeps the shallow at bay. 12. The elite inner circle. No entry for tourists. Sigmas don't let just anyone in, their inner circle is a fortress, not a tourist trap. You don't waltz into their trust, you earn it through blood, sweat, and time. They've got no room for casual visitors or seasonal friends. This circle is elite because it's earned, loyalty, depth, and grit are the price of admission. Sigmas protect it like a vault, keeping out the drama and the drifters. Ever wonder why they're so exclusive? It's not ego, it's survival. They'd rather have 3 warriors than 30 wanderers. Entry denied? That's on you. This isn't a clique, it's a brotherhood, a sanctuary where masks aren't needed and pretenses don't survive. Sigmas handpick their people, testing them in the crucible of life's highs and lows. They've seen too many flake under pressure to let just anyone close. This exclusivity is their strength, a shield against the chaos of unreliable souls. They nurture these bonds with a fierceness that matches their independence, knowing that true allies are rarer than gold. Picture a man surrounded not by a crowd, but by a chosen few who'd walk through fire for him. That's the Sigma circle, small but invincible. Let's cut the noise and get brutally honest. Sigma males aren't born, they're forged in the crucible of betrayal, disappointment, and a world that rewards fakeness over truth. This isn't a personality type, it's armor hammered into shape by every blow life throws and polished by a refusal to break. If you're here, you're either a Sigma or someone trying to crack the code. Here's the unfiltered truth. Sigmas don't explain themselves because the right people don't need it, and the wrong ones wouldn't get it anyway. You think they're cold? They're burning hotter than hell beneath that calm exterior, and they've mastered the art of showing nothing. Want their loyalty? Earn it, not with words but with actions that scream integrity louder than any promise. But here's what they'll never admit. Sigmas aren't invincible. They've bled. They've doubted. They've stood at the edge of the abyss and stared into the void, and laughed. Because every scar is a trophy. Every silence is a rebellion. While the world chases clout, Sigmas build legacies in the dark, brick by brick, with hands calloused from grinding, not begging. They don't need followers, they are the storm others flee from. And if you're a Sigma? Stop justifying your existence to a world that doesn't deserve your voice. Let your life be the manifesto. Let your actions carve your name into the bedrock of a society obsessed with facades. You're not here to fit in, you're here to rewrite the rules. To the ones watching, lurking in the shadows, this isn't a club. It's a creed. A silent pact between those who'd rather walk alone than march with sheep. Sigma men aren't lonely, they're architects of solitude. They're the wolves who chose the wilderness over the pack, not out of fear, but because they know the pack will always slow them down. In a world drowning in noise, they're the signal cutting through the static. The calm in the chaos. The fire that refuses to be smothered. This is Sigma male community, your compass for navigating life with purpose, independence, and stoic strength. We're not here to coddle you, we're here to challenge you, to strip away the bullshit and force you to confront the raw, unvarnished truth. This channel isn't a pep talk, it's a war drum. A call to arms for those who'd rather die on their feet than kneel for applause. So reflect on this. Let it sink into your bones. Let it piss you off. Let it wake the beast you've buried under apologies and people-pleasing. And when you're ready, truly ready, to step into your power, to stop asking for permission and start claiming what's yours, hit subscribe. Not for us. For you. Because in a sea of followers chasing trends, we're the ones building empires in the silence. We're the ones who'll outlast every hashtag, every viral moment, every empty promise. This isn't just content. It's a catalyst. Sigma isn't a label. It's a legacy. We are Sigma males. Turn on notification and watch the next video on this screen. Tap like and enjoy the next video.